Yo, what's up everybody? It is Arcanist PvP. Welcome back to another ESO video. Wait no further, my friends. Today I bring you the 1.2.6 Sorcerer PvP / dueling guide. This is the build that I've been using in all of my latest videos. I've had a lot of requests to do this guide, so without any hesitation, let's get right into it. You do know I am a sorcerer, I am a high elf, I use 7 pieces of light armor, and I have 49 points into health. If you'd like any explanation regarding any of that stuff, please refer back to my previous guide videos. In my last guide, I believe I did switch to the thief. I have switched back to the apprentice, and let me explain to you why. The thief increases crit chance with weapon and spell damage. Unfortunately, it means nothing now. Everybody is stacking the impenetrable trait on their armor, making crits much less effective and much less frequent. So going with the apprentice, the spell penetration is far better. I should have stuck with it in the first place. I did want to try out the thief once they fixed it to see how the crit worked, but since everybody is stacking that impenetrable trait on their armor, spell penetration by far a better choice, and this is going to apply to all armor, weapons, any of those traits. So if you've got the a staff with the crit chance, I highly recommend switching over to spell penetration. Once it is a legendary weapon, I believe you get 14% spell penetration, and that coupled with the apprentice, you're almost at 20% spell penetration. You can enchant your gear with the divines to get even more. I do recommend running the impenetrable though. Excuse me, not enchant, traits. You can apply the traits of the divines instead of magicka, or excuse me, instead of impenetrable, but I do recommend impenetrable because Nightblade's damage and other characters' crit chances are so effective. If you're not wearing that impenetrable stuff, you will get blown up. So, and to sum it all up, highly recommend spell penetration over spell crit. Okay, let's get right into the build here, guys. I've already gone ahead and selected all my abilities, so I don't have to waste your time going in and selecting all those. All passes are taken. Again, if you need explanation on any of these, refer back to my previous guides. On my DPS bar, starting off, Endless Fury. Needs no explanation. You know why I use it. The next ability here is the one that everybody's asking about. This is Degeneration. Degeneration is a morph from Entropy in the Mages Guild. Now what Degeneration does is it deals 12, and of course these numbers are not right, they do scale with your level and the ability level. So it deals X amount of magic damage over 12 seconds and restores X amount of health to player every 6 seconds. Additional 15% chance on hit with weapon to attack. Excuse me, additional 50% chance on hit with weapon attack to heal player for 100% of damage caused. Now, am I using this ability for any of that? No. None of that matters to me. It's all bonus stuff. The reason I use Degeneration is because of this passive ability right here, Might of the Guild. Casting a Mage's Guild ability increases spell power by 10 for 1 point, 20% for 2 points with the next attack. Effects last up to 8 seconds after casting a Mage's Guild ability. So what this means is every time I cast Degeneration, the next spell that I cast afterwards, whether it be a Crystal Fragments, Curse, Streak, Endless Fury, Heals, it doesn't matter. Any spell I cast after casting Degeneration is going to be increased by 20% spell power. Huge. Spell power is the sorcerer's best friend. I'm still not level 12, unfortunately, guys. I'm very sorry. You'll see that in the next part of this video. This is going to be a 2-part guide. The second part is going to be actual gameplay and me commenting and describing what exactly is going on in my rotation as I'm fighting. So make sure, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, to do that so that you get notified when the second part of this guide is out. And then you'll be able to see my thought process and everything behind why I do what I do and why I've made this build. So just a quick reference, Degeneration, I'll cast that first. If I don't get a Crystal Fragment proc, I'll usually cast Curse so that it is a 20% increased spell damage Curse, and then I'll go right back to Degeneration. This thing only costs about 100 magicka each, so you can spam it. If I do get a Crystal Fragment proc without using Degeneration, I will always cast Degen before casting the Fragment proc. You know, a 20% increased spell damage. Right now my spell damage is, I think, at about 90, so you're actually increasing your spell damage by 18, making it 108 instead of 90. It's a huge difference, trust me. So if you can use degeneration before every spell, I recommend it. Of course, that's not possible. You will end up going So you really have to manage and figure out the best combination that works for you. You'll definitely get some more insight once I put out the second part of this video, and you can see the commentation of my fights. Crystal fragments. Some people have told me that the AoE fragments, now that they buffed the damage, is a better choice. GTFO, don't even try to come at me with that shit. I can cast 3 crystal fragment procs by the time a person casts 1 castable AoE fragments. I don't even know the name of it because it sucks so bad. I don't care how much the damage is. You are so easily interrupted if you take the AoE fragments. It's not even funny. I'd be absolutely shocked if you got one of those off against a good player. So if you're in a group stuff, fine. If you're not being targeted, you can do it. But if you want serious PvP, crystal fragments, instaproc, end of story. Streak, of course, I'm still using. I do see some sorcerers using the lightning ball. It's such a defensive ability. You really can't even be an offensive sorc when you're using lightning ball. All it is trying to mitigate damage. Streak is actually a damage spell. When I streak into somebody, I'm looking for that last little bit of damage to proc the Mage's Fury, to get them to that 20%. It's priceless. When trying to kite people, you don't have that ball following you around. I don't think I need to say anymore. Streak is a better choice. Velocious Curse I use all the time now, and the main reason I use it is because every class except for us has a reflect. Well, excuse me, if you do go sword and board, you can use the defensive posture and morph it into the reflect. But 9 times out of 10, sorcs don't use that, and every other class, Nightblades are using the defensive posture, Dragon Knights have their wings, their scales, and the Templars have the Blazing Shield and Sun Shield, 2 reflects. So Velocious Curse is great against classes that reflect stuff. I'll cast Degeneration, and then I'll cast Curse to get that 20% extra damaged Curse, and I'll incorporate that with the heavy Resto Staff attacks. And Dragon Knights usually don't know what to do. They're waiting for you to cast that fragment into them, and so they can reflect it onto you and then charge with Invasion. If you just confuse them by casting Curse, Degeneration, and heavy Resto Staff attacks, you're not reflecting anything. They usually don't know what to do, and you can whittle them down until you can get that Mage's Fury on them. And again, I'm going to be going into more details on how to fight each class in the second part of this guide. On to the healing bar. Healing ward, I think I explained in my last video. I take over ward ally. It is the same exact shield, except the healing ward heals you, has a heal over time, and also if the shield is not destroyed upon its expiration, it heals you for 100% of the shield's remaining strength. It is absolutely fantastic. I have switched back to rapid regeneration from mutagen. Mutagen, I think it's a class-specific spell. Dragon Knights, if they use mutagen, they get under that 20%. They're going to be popping their green dragon blood anyways. So green dragon blood in conjunction with the mutagen, they're back at full health. With sorcs, you take so much damage because you're wearing that full light armor and you don't have any of the armor spells. The rapid regeneration is key because you're going to be stacking these shields for defensive purposes, and rapid regeneration is just more healing over a shorter amount of time. It's just a better spell for sorcs. Now, this next ability, Harness Magicka, if you're not using it, I don't know how you're surviving in PvP. I don't know how I survived in PvP without it, especially with Magicka-dependent classes. Harness Magicka, in addition to having an actual point damage shield, it reduces 50% spell damage from all spells. Also, it restores Magicka each time a spell hits you when the Harness Magicka is up. So if you're wondering how I am able to keep my Magicka up during those long sustained fights, this is how. This, in conjunction with the Resto Staff passive Absorb, blocking spells restores X amount of Magicka, depending on how many points you have in the passive. That, in conjunction with Harness Magicka, I'll pop this. I'll pop my Harden ward, and again, I will be explaining more of shield stacking in my next part of this video. I can basically go from 0 Magicka to full. I absorb all the spell damage coming in from Harness Magicka, and then if I'm blocking, I absorb even more. It's just fantastic. It's so OP for sorcs. Harness Magicka and Harden Ward must-haves. And of course, I always use a movable. Not being able to be CC'd is key to PvP. As you know, if you PvP'd in any other game, anywhere, console, computer, doesn't matter. PvP is based on CC. If you can CC better than your opponent, you will win. CC is the most important part of PvP, and I cannot reiterate that enough. You know, if you can CC the guy more than he can CC you, that means he can't play his class, and you are able to get an advantage over him. As far as ultimates go, Soul Assault is, if you'll see in any of my videos, Soul Assault is so much fun. And if you're wondering how I survive my Soul Assaults, Harness Magicka, reducing that spell damage by 50%. But you know, you absolutely see in the last video that Return of the Face Melter, people just get obliterated. It is so fun to use. I highly recommend it if you haven't picked it up yet. And then the Charge Atronach, I will switch this out with Absorption Field. It really just depends on your playstyle or what you're doing. You can definitely pretty much put anything you want here. And the reason I say that is because you do have a Daedric summoning ability with the Curse and the Ward on each side, so that you're getting that 10% increased health regeneration no matter which bar you're on. Alright guys, there you have it, my build for 1.2.6. High survivability, high DPS, it's a lot of fun. Just probably wouldn't want to use it in groups, they'll think you're a selfish bastard if you do. Definitely take like a Destro Staff, AoE abilities, barrier, that type of thing. Real quick, I have to touch on just a few things and then I'm out of here. The Volatile Familiar pet is bugged. That's why I actually don't use it. I don't like using bugged abilities. It explodes twice, doing double damage. They did nerf it from 20% max magicka to, as you'll see here, 1.2.6 reduced it to 12% of your max magicka. So they are addressing the situation. 1.3, hopefully they will fix the double explosion. Gear, I am wearing a 5-piece Twilight's Embrace set, 3-piece Willow's Path, and my gear is Warlock. Or excuse me, my jewelry is the 3 Warlock. My enchants are white. I have not leveled enchanting as I am noob at leveling stuff, as you know. So they're all white, all max magicka to increase my magicka pool. My traits, I'm using impenetrable and 2 pieces of divines for the Mundus stone. I'm probably just going to go all impenetrable. I might explore some different combinations once I get to 12 with different enchants. We'll see. I'll do a video once I get there. And real quick, before I get out of here, guys, I want to throw a big shout out to my buddy Face Melter. The video that we made together and the videos we've made before have been just really successful. You know, I can't take a bunch of huge group of guys as a sorcerer, but with him, we're able to take on a lot more people and just have some really epic fights. So shout out to Face Melter. Thank you so much. You're an awesome dude. And last thing, and then I'm out of here, guys. Thank you. I just hit 300 subscribers, 300 almost 325 now. I can't believe it. I didn't really have any expectations when I started this thing at all. So thank you so much. I love you guys. Thank you for the support. Keep hitting that like button if you're enjoying the content. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.